Welcome to the ITSM Practice Podcast.
Hello, I'm Luigi Ferri and welcome back to the ITSM Practice Podcast. There is a moment in every carve-out when optimism meets reality. It usually happens quietly in a review, a meeting, a quick conversation. An IT director looks at the first dependency map, the first migration plan, the first risk log, and understands we are not ready for this. It's honesty. And that's the point where real leadership starts, in carve-outs. IT maturity is what keeps the transition structured instead of chaotic. Most carve-outs stumble because governance comes after the design. By then, you are no longer separating systems. You are separating dependencies. And dependencies don't move because you plan it. They pull because they are there. Carve-outs look simple on slides. 3 phases, neat swim lanes, clean Gantt charts. But under the surface, there are shared databases, undocumented integrations, inherited service contract, years of tribal knowledge, and operational shortcuts that only emerge when you start to detach the business unit. IT maturity is not how well you run today. IT maturity is how well you transition tomorrow. And carve-outs expose weaknesses brutally. Incomplete CMDBs, fragile integrations, undocumented service level agreements, untested recovery path, change processes that worked until they needed to scale under stress. This is why ITIL v3 structures matters. Its life cycle, strategy, design, transition, operation is not a theory. It's the scaffolding that prevents carve-outs from collapsing under their own weight. And it's the structure that reduces risk before migration even begins. So let me take you into a room. The IT director is reviewing the dependency map for the carve-out unit. What should have been a simple diagram turns into a spider web. Shared ERP modules. Master data that flows through 3 teams. Legacy integrations no one has touched in years. A billing engine shared by 2 business units. Identity systems with half-documented entitlements. And then the key question. Where is the boundary between what we own and what they need to take it with them? Silence. Dependencies don't follow org charts. They reveal how mature you really are. I want you to perform a continuity stress test right now, wherever you are. Imagine one shared service in the carve-out disappears tomorrow. Identity, database hosting, network routing, batch processing. Take your pick. Now answer these 5 questions. What breaks immediately? Who escalates first and to whom? Which dependencies were assumed but never documented? What recovery plan exists and is it tested? How many hours can the carve-out survive before customers feel pain? This exercise does something essential. It exposes operational truth before the carve-out does. ITIL Service Continuity Management teaches us that continuity is not a document. It's a capability tested under stress. And carve-outs generate stress by design. If processes are not mature, stress becomes disruption. Disruption becomes cost. cost becomes delay. Delay becomes failed separation. High maturity organizations succeed in carve-outs not because they are bigger or smarter, but because they are earlier. They place governance before architecture, decisions rights before migration plans, risk frameworks before task lists, clarity before momentum, and they follow a structured path. First, assess the landscape brutally and completely. Inventory assets, systems, data flows, shared services, SLAs, interdependencies. Carve-outs fail when surprises surface late. Second, design target architecture with interim states. Separations don't happen in one step. Interim states preserve continuity without breaking operations. Third, align stakeholders around governance earlier. A PMO, a steering committee, defined roles without this decision drift. 4. Stress test continuity before migrating. Parallel running, controlled cutovers, validated backups. This is mandatory, not optional. And the last one, stabilize before optimizing. Transition is not the time for innovation. You stabilize first, you improve after. This is, as always, discipline. And discipline beats ambition every time. So, what you should take away? IT maturity is the real risk indicators in carve-outs, not system count. Dependencies decide separation success far more than applications. Governance must exist before design begins, not after problems surface. ITIL v3 provides structure and reduces risk, precisely when the pressure peaks. And the last point, your continuity stress test reveals whether you are genuinely ready. Carve-outs don't test technology. They test discipline. They test documentation. They test truth. And they remind us that separation are never clean. They are negotiated with architecture, with governance, with history. Because in the end, you don't separate systems. You separate dependencies and the security of your perimeter. Thank you. I'm Luigi Ferri, and this was the ITSM Practice Podcast. Arrivederci.